All right, John, let's just dive right into it. The 5 a.m. club. It's this mythical, almost legendary concept that people talk about. Is it real? Is it useful? I mean, a lot of people just groan at the thought of their alarm going off at 7 a.m., let alone 2 hours earlier.
Muhammad, it's funny because for years, I was that person. I was hitting snooze, dragging myself out of bed, feeling perpetually behind before my day even really started. But 5 a.m.? It felt like something only monks or super elite athletes did. Yet here we are, talking about it because, honestly, it's been a game changer for me.
I can totally relate. When I first heard about it, my initial reaction was pure skepticism. Like, who wants to voluntarily give up precious sleep? What's the big secret? But then you start hearing people, successful people, swear by it. They talk about this golden hour or sacred time. What was your turning point? What made you even consider it?
You know, it was a period where I just felt overwhelmed. My days were reactive, constantly putting out fires. I had no time for personal projects, for learning, for just thinking. I felt like my brain was always playing catch-up. I stumbled upon some articles, some podcasts, coincidentally, about the benefits of an early start. And the idea of creating time appealed to me. It wasn't about sleeping less. It was about optimizing the time I had.
That's a key distinction right there, creating time. Because a lot of people hear 5 a.m. and they instantly think less sleep, which is obviously not the goal. The goal is to maximize the quality of your time, right? What have you found to be the most surprising benefit since you started?
The quiet. Hands down, the absolute uninterrupted quiet. Before 7 a.m., sometimes even 8 a.m., the world is just still. No notifications buzzing, no emails demanding attention, no kids asking for breakfast yet. It's just you and your thoughts. That clarity, that ability to focus without any external noise, that's where the magic really happens for me. It's like a mental reset button for the entire day.
I completely agree with the quiet. It's almost meditative, isn't it? For me, it was the feeling of being proactive instead of reactive. I always felt like I was scrambling, rushing through breakfast, checking emails while still half asleep. With 5 a.m., I get to decide what my day looks like before anyone else does. I can tackle a big task, work out, or even just read a book, and by the time the rest of the world wakes up, I've already banked a couple of hours of productive, focused time. That mental win sets the tone for everything else.
Exactly. It's like starting your day with a head start. You feel accomplished before your first cup of coffee. And that feeling, it cascades throughout the day. You're less stressed, more patient, and you approach challenges with a completely different mindset. It's not just about getting more done. It's about getting more done better and with less mental friction.
But let's be real, John. It's not like you just wake up one day and decide, okay, 5 a.m. it is, and boom, you're a morning person. There's an adaptation phase, a painful one sometimes. What was your experience like trying to initially make that shift? What were the biggest hurdles?
Oh, absolutely. The first week was brutal. I felt like a zombie. The biggest hurdle was consistently getting to bed early enough. If you're trying to wake up at 5 a.m., you have to be in bed by 9 p.m., maybe 9:30 p.m. at the latest, to get those 7-8 hours of crucial sleep. My old routine had me up until 11 p.m. or even midnight, watching TV or scrolling. Breaking that habit was tougher than the actual waking up part.
That's such a critical point. People focus so much on the waking up, but the going to bed is arguably more important. What strategies did you use to shift your bedtime? Because that's where a lot of people, myself included initially, fall short.
It was a gradual process. I didn't jump from midnight to 9 p.m. overnight. I started by shifting it back by 15-minute increments every few days. So if I was going to bed at 11:30 p.m., I'd try for 11:15 p.m. for a couple of nights, then 11 p.m. Also, a strict no screens an hour before bed rule became essential. Blue light is the enemy of early mornings, trust me. I'd read a physical book, listen to a podcast, or just sit quietly. It was boring at first, but it signaled to my brain that it was time to wind down.
That's excellent advice. The gradual shift is key. And the no screens rule, I mean, that's not just for early risers, that's just good sleep hygiene, right? But it becomes non-negotiable when you're aiming for that 5 a.m. mark. Did you also find that having a solid morning routine helped you stick with it, even on days when you felt like hitting snooze?
Absolutely, Mohammed. You can't just wake up at 5 a.m. and then stare at the ceiling for an hour. You need a purpose. For me, it's a non-negotiable sequence: glass of water, a quick 15-minute stretch, then straight into journaling and planning my top 3 priorities for the day. That's maybe 30-45 minutes. Then I hit the gym. Having that routine gives me something to look forward to and a reason to get out of bed. It's not just about waking up early, it's about what you do with that extra time.
That structure is so important. I think that's where a lot of people fail. They wake up early, feel tired, and then just flounder. What I found helpful too, especially in the beginning, was putting my alarm clock across the room. It forces you to physically get out of bed to turn it off, and by that point, you're usually awake enough to resist the urge to just dive back under the covers. Also, having that glass of water immediately, like you mentioned, really helps kickstart your system.
Oh, the alarm clock across the room trick is a classic for a reason. It works wonders. And speaking of physical things, I found that exposing myself to bright light almost immediately after waking up also helps. Open the blinds, turn on a bright lamp. It signals to your brain that it's daytime, helping to suppress melatonin and make you feel more alert. It's all about hacking your biology, really.
Definitely. It's a holistic approach, isn't it? Sleep hygiene, light exposure, a meaningful morning routine. But let's talk about the long-term effects. Beyond just getting more done, how has it impacted your overall life and specifically your mental ability?
The mental shift has been profound. I feel sharper, more focused, and my decision-making feels clearer. Before, my brain felt a bit foggy until noon. Now I hit my peak cognitive performance much earlier. That quiet time allows me to really think through problems, plan strategies, and even just process emotions without the urgency of the day pressing in. It's like my mental RAM has been cleared out every morning.
I resonate with that mental RAM cleared out analogy. I find that I'm much more resilient to stress throughout the day. When challenges come up, I don't react with as much panic or overwhelm because I've already started the day feeling grounded and productive. It's like I've built up a buffer of mental fortitude. Also, that sense of self-discipline, of consistently doing something hard for yourself, really boosts confidence.
Absolutely. That feeling of self-efficacy is huge. You prove to yourself every single day that you can set a goal and achieve it, even when it's uncomfortable. And that translates into other areas of your life. You start thinking, if I can conquer 5 a.m., what else can I do? It really empowers you to take on bigger challenges. It's not just a morning habit, it's a foundational habit that influences everything else.
That's powerful, John. It becomes a keystone habit, right? One that positively impacts other aspects of your life. I've noticed my diet has improved because I have time to make a proper breakfast. My exercise is consistent because it's baked into that early morning slot. My relationships even benefit because I'm less irritable by the time I interact with my family. It's not just about productivity, it's about holistic well-being.
Yeah, and I think it's important to mention that it's not a magic bullet for everything. You still have to do the work, but it gives you the absolute best chance to do that work effectively and consistently. And sometimes, life happens. You might have a late night or travel. What do you do on those days when you miss the 5 a.m. mark?
Oh, those days happen, and it's important not to beat yourself up about it. One slip-up doesn't undo weeks or months of progress. If I have a really late night, I might adjust my alarm to 6 a.m. or even 7 a.m. to ensure I still get enough sleep. The key is to get right back on track the very next day. Don't let one missed morning turn into a missed week. Consistency over perfection, right?
Couldn't agree more. And I think it's also important for listeners to understand that while 5 a.m. works for us, the principle is what matters. It's about finding that uninterrupted time, that mental space. Maybe for someone else it's 6 a.m. or even 4:30 a.m. It's about being intentional about your mornings rather than letting the day dictate your rhythm.
Exactly. It's not a rigid rule for everyone, but a template for creating your most productive and peaceful hours. Some people are genuinely night owls, and forcing a 5 a.m. wake-up might be counterproductive for them. The goal is to optimize your personal energy cycles and find your peak time for focus and creativity.
Right, it's about self-awareness. But for those who are struggling to find time, feeling overwhelmed, or just want to gain an edge, giving the early morning a try is definitely something worth exploring. Start small, be consistent, and have a plan for what you'll do with that precious time.
So to wrap this up, John, if you had to give one piece of advice to someone who's on the fence about trying the 5 a.m. habit, what would it be?
My advice would be commit to trying it for 30 days. Don't just try it for a few days, because the initial phase is tough. Give your body and mind time to adapt. And during those 30 days, prioritize your bedtime ruthlessly. You'll be amazed at the transformation not just in your productivity, but in your entire outlook on life. It's truly empowering.
Love that. Commit to 30 days. That's a challenge our listeners can definitely take on. And my advice would be, have a clear why. What are you going to do with that extra time? Whether it's reading, writing, exercising, planning, or just enjoying a quiet cup of coffee, having a purpose will pull you out of bed, even when the thought of warmth and sleep is incredibly tempting. It's about investing in yourself.
Perfect. Mohammed, this has been an incredibly insightful discussion. I think we've definitely covered the usefulness, the how-to, and the profound impact of this habit. It's more than just an early alarm, it's a lifestyle shift.
It really is, John. And for anyone listening, we hope this has given you some inspiration, some practical tools, and maybe even convinced you that the 5 a.m. club isn't so mythical after all. It's achievable, and the rewards are well worth it. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.